Well, hello, welcome to another episode of What's the Point, the podcast that truly helps you find your meaning through the stories and journeys of some formidable people I know. And in that light, I'm delighted to welcome the formidable Zahra Pabani. Zahra and I got to know each other 4 or 5 years ago now, and Zahra has been a phenomenal woman and partner to my business. So Zahra, massively grateful for you and everything that you are. So why don't you introduce yourself, because you'll do a far better job than me.
Thank you, Danny. So great to be here. So I'm Zahra Pabani. I'm a partner at Irwin Mitchell Solicitors. By trade, I'm a family lawyer dealing with all manner of divorce, children, finances, with a particular niche in wealth protection and basically helping people, finding solutions to problems. I'm also what's called a market lead, so an ambassador for the firm. So I do things like this, podcasts, webinars, events, and in that vein, it's so good to support you, Danny. And I actually think we met during COVID on an event. And since then, we have become, I think, great networkers, but also great friends.
Thank you. Yes. So thank you, Zahra, for being a friend of mine, a partner of mine, a partner at the law firm, but someone that I'm truly honoured, privileged and delighted to be alongside in life. So let's get to the heartbeat of why we're here on this podcast, Zahra. What would you say is the point of your life?
I mean, Danny, what a question to start with. It's such a big question. And before I answer it, can I say the point has changed from year to year or even decade to decade. So now I'm in my early 50s. The point of my life is my family, is my 6-year-old daughter, is my husband, is creating an environment where we thrive and we're happy.
Oh, Zahra, that is wonderful to hear, and so enriching. And I've been to your family home and witnessed that alive between you all. So that's wonderful. And within people, so let's bring it into people either in work or daily life. We, as you've acknowledged, met through COVID, a tricky time, but the tricky times still keep coming, Zahra. What trends are you seeing within people at the moment?
So, do you know what's interesting, Danny, about that question is that we people of my generation, if you like, look at the younger generation and look at them really striving for what everybody terms as work-life balance, for doing it differently, for working flexibly. And I think some people in my generation are perhaps older are going, no, everybody should be in the office and you should be in before your boss or leave after your boss. And, they've all got it wrong. But actually, have they got it right? So one of the trends I'm seeing is people are saying work-life balance matters. And actually, does it make them more productive? Does it make them more successful? Does it make them happier? I think people are genuinely saying, I want my life back and I want it to look a certain way. And yes, I'm going to work hard at work. And yes, I'm going to have goals and I'm going to achieve them. But I am going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to change my focus and make it more enriching and fulfilling.
And certainly, Zahra, with the younger people, we're seeing, I like to call it a blend. How are they blending work and life meaning fulfillment together?
Absolutely. They're doing it differently though, Danny, don't you think? They are doing it differently. And I think at different ages and stages, you do it differently. But we've got a lot to learn from different people. A lot to learn from some of my junior colleagues and the way that they do things. And we should learn and we should continue to learn and develop and think about doing things differently.
Well, exactly. And like you said at the head of what we've just started speaking about, the point of your life has changed. We learn, we develop, we grow, we change, and that is life. It's a constant evolution of who we are and how we manage everything. And so in that, Zahra, with you managing everything, the travel, the family, the incredibly successful career, what strong steps have you got for yourself?
So I don't know if they're strong or if they're just small and simple, Danny, really. Obviously, the usual things that do matter to me and are more in my head than maybe they were 10 or 20 years ago is that, eat well, sleep well, do that exercise, all those kind of normal things that everybody talks about. But there's one big thing, okay? There's one big thing in all of it, me time. So I am a partner in a law firm, I'm a colleague, I'm a boss, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter. You know, you wear so many different hats. You got to have some time for yourself, whatever that looks like. For example, one of my favorite things is curling up with a novel. I like reading a book. Whatever that looks like, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's having a massage, whether that's doing whatever makes you happy, going for a drink with a friend, having a phone call with a loved one, whatever it looks like, carving out some me time is probably the thing that I think is the most important for me, and it works well for me and it makes me better. Taking some time out for myself, then stepping back into my personal or professional world makes me better.
Zahra, and it's so important to do that. And you're right. It's not the big things. It's the small things. As long as we make time for them, because when we haven't, 3-4 weeks go by, I'm tired, I'm snappy. I haven't done what it is that makes me me. And in that, the bigger picture, you're in law, professional services have seen a lot of this, but burnout I'm talking about specifically. But how do you avoid negative experiences like burnout, Zahra?
Do you know what, Danny? Can you actually avoid them? I mean, show me a person that can avoid them. I'm not sure that's realistic. So I don't think you can avoid them. So what I think we probably need to talk about is, how do you manage them? Because we're all going to have a negative experience, even if that's just a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, or something more significant like burnout or stress or menopause or whatever it is that's affecting you at that moment in time. So you can't, in my opinion, you can't avoid them. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to the best of us. So it's how you manage it and how you work through it. And the key, I would say, is identify it. If it is a bad day, tomorrow's another day. Wash it off, jump in the shower, have a bath, do what you need to do to wash that day away, go for a run. If it's a bad week, reflect on that week, talk to somebody about it. What happened? How did that feel? What did that look like? How can I make next week better? The key thing that I've learned through life is you got to make a plan. If something isn't working, then you're responsible for changing it. So how do you manage the difficulties? You might need a coach like yourself. You might need a counsellor. You might need to go to the doctor. You might just need a hug from your mum. I don't know what it is, but there might be something that's going to make it better. So you might be going year to year and being really unhappy in your work. Do you need to change your career? Is that a step that you need to do? So I don't think we can avoid the negativity, Danny. I don't think that's realistic. But when it's happening to you, breathe, communicate, ask for help. There are always people to help and support. It might not be obvious they're there, but there are people to help and support you. So do reach out. So you think communication is key, isn't it? It's communication.
Yes, and I think that's a really, really powerful message that you've just delivered, actually, Zahra. Communicate how you're feeling, as you say, whether it's about your job, your partner, a lump that you found, whatever it is, you need to communicate that. And you're absolutely right. We can't avoid the negative situations. Sure as we laugh, we cry.
Exactly. I agree.
It's human. It's human. So I think you've just delivered a really powerful message there, Zahra. Thank you. And then if we rewind and take a few steps back and look at the bigger picture, we've looked at the point of your life, and it's certainly that family, that great feeling amongst you. And what would you say, Zahra? You've seen incredibly successful people in terms of wealth, status, but for you, Zahra, what would you say success is?
Again, year on year or decade on decade, the meaning of success has changed for me. So once upon a time, it was very much getting that promotion. Getting to partner was a really big thing for me. It was massive. So, that was a really important milestone in my life, and it made me happy at the time. Now, success is purely linked to happiness. And I'm not talking about, oh my God, I'm on the top of the world and everything is perfect. I'm talking about contentment. I'm talking about, do you read those things sometimes on Instagram where it says, if you've had a warm meal, and tucked your child into a warm bed and closed the door and you've paid the bills and you've just really just done a day, then that's success. Then you've won the lottery. And I think I feel a little bit like that now at my age and stage, is that having a level of contentment and, just being happy, having a lovely husband, a lovely daughter, having friends, having people like you in my world, having my family, having great work colleagues and a brilliant boss. The small things, just having a really happy day feels like a successful time in my life.
Zahra, and that's why I created this podcast, because I think so many people are struggling with what that fulfillment is to them. And I really, truly do, Zahra.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think, some people might link it to money, but I'm not convinced at all that it's linked to it. I'm not saying money can't make you happy. Of course it makes some people happy and it makes life easier, which can make you happy. So let's not be naive about that. But I think it is love that makes the world go around, and then love spins out some happiness. So I do think, like, for example, right now in my life, when I do something for somebody else and I can help somebody or support somebody, that makes me feel really good. It makes me feel genuinely happy and successful. If I'm able to share my contact book or some of my expertise or just some of my network, and it can give somebody else a lift or a leg up, that makes me feel great. And if I feel great, I feel successful.
Well, Zahra, thank you. Thank you so much. And, just testament to that is only yesterday, completely out of the blue. I got an introduction from you. So, completely out of the blue. So thank you. And that's not uncommon from you. And I know you live what you're saying. So massively, massively thank you. And it was Winston Churchill, actually, that said, we make a life by what we get. No, we make a living by what we get. So we make a living by what we get, but we make life by what we give.
Yeah. So true. I think, one of the biggest, when you're riding high and you're doing well, what can you do for others? It's not just about you, it's about everybody around you, or maybe about somebody you don't know. When they say when you're feeling really miserable, put a smile on your face and it'll send hormones through your body. And even though you weren't feeling happy, if you put a smile on your face, you might start feeling happy. There are little things you can do on a daily basis. I often walk into a lift, and when you walk into a lift, everybody's looking at their phone, nobody looks at each other. I always talk to the person saying morning, or gosh, what a horrible day, or what a lovely day, or I always say something really positive, and it works. It lifts. I can see it visibly lifts that person, and I walk out the lift feeling a little bit lighter, a little bit happier and breezier that day too. So sharing a smile, giving a compliment, Danny. I love giving a compliment. Isn't it nice to receive a compliment and give a compliment? Small things that cost nothing can make you feel great and thus successful.
Oh, Zahra, yes, and doing them as well. As you say, doing them. This is wonderful. Thank you, Zahra. And then I know you haven't got a crystal ball beneath your laptop right now, but moving forward with all the turbulence that we've been through, and in work and daily life, what does the future look like for you, Zahra?
It was really interesting, Danny, because you asked me that recently at an event, and you said, "Where next? What you're doing?" And
yeah.
Asked me, and what I said to you, and I'm going to say it now to your listeners, is, why do I need to look forward? Why can't I just stop and smell the roses? At this age and stage in my life, I've constantly had a 3 to 5 year plan, whether it was getting a job or a certain job in a certain type of firm, whether it was getting to partnership, whether it was running a team, whether it was getting a different job, or flexing my career a bit and doing it slightly differently, whether it was trying to have a baby and going through 5 rounds of IVF, whatever it was, I've always had a goal. Right now, what I'm enjoying? Rather than looking forward, stopping and smelling the roses. That's what I'm doing right now. 5 years will bring what it brings, hopefully, my daughter's thriving at school, my husband's happy, we've got food on the table, and we've got a happy time in our lives with friends and family. But I'm going to focus right now on stopping and smelling the roses and enjoying and savoring my time with you today, Danny, my day today, perhaps a walk in the sunshine, and just a little bit of fun.
Oh, and Zahra, I think that mindset of stopping and smelling the roses, just by you saying that, it allows your shoulders to drop, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Just breathe. And
It doesn't, do you know what it does, Danny? It alleviates pressure.
Yes.
You constantly think, what next, what next, what next? It alleviates pressure. If you've just got a promotion or you've just got a new job, enjoy it, be good at it, do well at it. Yes, have a plan. I'm not saying don't have a plan. And I think the younger you are, the more likely that is to be. But try and go, well done me, pat on the back, and enjoy what you've got in front of you, because life is so short and it is for living. So live it in the here and now.
Beautiful, Zahra. Beautiful. Thank you for saying that. And you, Zahra Pabani, and I know this can ebb and flow as well, but what three values? Because all organizations, I know IM have their values. A lot of organizations I work with have their own values, but they don't really mean anything. But I know you like meaning in your life. What three values would you say that you live by, Zahra?
So for anybody who knows me, knows that I'm an incredibly positive person, and I am glass overflowing, forget half full. And that's just an important thing for me. It's not for everybody, but it's an important thing for me. So when somebody gives me a problem, I don't see the problem, I see the solution, I see a way forward. So I think positivity is really important for me and in my world, and that keeps me sane and happy and buzzing and vibrant. Kindness. Now, kindness comes in lots of different forms. I think you've got to be kind to people, whether it be the person serving you at the petrol station, whether it be your colleague or your client, or whether it be somebody who's really not being very nice in the moment. Maybe you're having a very difficult conversation. Maybe they're having a really difficult day, or something's happened in their world that's really terrible. Rather than going back to them in an unkind and negative way, be kind. Be kind to people. And sometimes it can really, surprise them and soften the conversation. And sometimes when you're doing something really difficult or you don't want to do it, maybe you have to kill with kindness. Kindness can come in lots of different forms. So positivity, kindness, and I think the last one is be brave. Try and do something out of your comfort zone. You really don't want to do that thing, or do something a little bit different, whether it be trying a different gym class, whether it be going speed dating or trying dating online, whatever it is that you're a little bit afraid of, but think there might be something that could be a good outcome from it, try it. Because I never regret anything, because I always try things, so I don't have regret. And when you've tried it and it didn't work, it's okay. Again, pat yourself on the back. You tried. And you only fail, in my opinion, when you stop trying. So always try and be brave.
I love those, Zahra. Brave, kindness, and positivity.
That's it.
That's you. And how do those keep you focused on living the point of your life, with your family and this formidable career woman and friend to many that you are, Zahra? How do those values keep you living the point of your life?
Well, each one of them just helps, doesn't it? I wake up and I always have a positive thought in my head of something positive I'm going to do that day. I interact with people all day long, and I try and do that with a level of kindness. I think I'm fairly brave. I'm coming on your podcast. I mean, I've done a few of them now, but I think I'm not afraid of saying what I feel. Or the other week I did a podcast about menopause, Danny, and actually it was a brave thing for me to do, because even when I was talking, I don't think they realised on the podcast itself, but I was feeling quite upset inside, because it was a terrible time for me going through menopause. It was really, really tricky. It was probably one of the most difficult times I've had in a long time. So, I felt quite brave that I went on to talk about it, really, because I'm on my menopause journey, and I've got my patches and I've got my meds, and I'm doing a lot better. But it was a brave thing for me to do, and I didn't realise it until I was on it talking about it, because inside I felt a little bit upset, because it was reminding me of going through a really difficult phase in my life. So I think I live those values day to day, every single day. And the other thing I do is maybe I encourage others. So if I see somebody who's feeling a little bit low or a little bit down, I'm kind to them, and I encourage them to be brave, and I encourage them to look at their situation a little bit differently and be a little bit positive. And then I check in on them and make sure they're okay. So I live them by myself, but offering them as a support to others.
Zahra, I keep saying it, you are a formidable woman. And I'm so grateful that one, I know you, and two, you came on my podcast. Thank you. So before we bring this into land, is there anything that you'd like to say before we depart?
I want to say thank you, Danny. You know, you'll keep calling me formidable, and you're so kind with your praise and your compliments. But well done, you. You know, I know how difficult it is, or I've seen how difficult it is to be you and build a business from scratch and do everything that you're doing. So fair play to you and all those other individuals out there who are brave and take that brave step to say, I'm going to go out on my own and I'm going to build a business on my own from scratch. And even though I'm going to face adversity at times, I'm going to do it and be successful. And I think you're a clear example to others. If you want something, I firmly believe you can have it and you can get it. I just want to say to the listeners, don't be afraid to follow your dreams, because you can and you will. And where there's a will, there's a way. And you can do it. You might need a little bit of help and support. You might need to reach out. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can find me on the Irwin Mitchell website. And if there's something that I can help with or open my contact book on, I will be very happy to do so.
Zahra, you are a superstar woman. Thank you for being part of my work, my daily life, and thank you for being part of this podcast. You really made an impact right here, right now. Thank you so much, Zahra. This has been What's the Point?